So here we are going to discuss the problems regarding the standard costing. In the standard costing, we have two important price variations, and the two important price variations has been going to compare and find out the differentiations as well as the variances if there will be any possibilities. One is the standard price, the other one is actual price. Standard price has been decided on the basis of predetermined prices, or the price which was actually assumed on the basis of historical prices. And the actual price, it means the price which was actually incurred in the organization. So in this regard, both the prices has been compared, and on the basis of the comparisons we would be identified that what is actually a difference or variances between these two. And on the basis of these variances, there are two possible answers. One is adverse answer, that means negative answer, and the other one is favorable answer. So on the basis of that adverse and favorable answers, we would take a further decision for the amount of a certain price management regarding the raw material purchases and other type of material purchases in the organization. So shall we move for the start with the problems? I'll just tell you the brief part of this video lectures, that here in this video lecture I am going to solve out almost nearby 4 problems. 2 problems we are discussing regarding the material variances, and the 2 problems we are going to discuss about the labor variances. So here the total 4 problems are going to discuss in this particular video lecture. Shall we start with this first problem? And the first problem is regarding the material variances, that is a firm implemented standard costing. That means the firm is introducing the standard costing in the organization, and the standard usage fixed for product of 1000 units. So we will just write the brief informations whatever we have. It means that the company is having a 1000 units of the manufacturing, and for that they are manufacturing the units 1000, and for the 1000 manufacturing unit, company need 400 kilogram of goods. So that they needs a raw material requires 400 kilograms, and at a price of rupees 2.50 per kilogram. So price is rupees 2.50 per kilogram. Now when 2000 units were produced, it was found that 820 kilograms of the raw material is required. That means instead of the 400 kilograms, or instead of the 1000 units, if they are manufacturing a units double, that means 2000 units, then they need the raw material is around 820 kilogram. So now the kilogram of raw material has been required in a different way. Here in case of 1000 units, they need 400 kilograms of raw material, but instead of 1000 units it would be double. Then in case of 2000 units of manufacturing, the raw material has been required 820 kilograms of the material were used at 2.60 rupees price per unit. So 2.60 rupees per kilogram price has been considered. They asked to find out the how much amount of the variances, or what amount of variances would be identified. See here, this was a standard. So in case of 1000 units manufactured, they need 400 kilograms, and it would be available most probably 2.50 rupees per kilogram. But actually the units manufactured, this is actual concern. So actually the company is manufacturing the 2000 units, and in case of 2000 units they need a raw material of 820 kilograms, which will be available at the price of 2.60. Now which are the variances they ask, and they ask simply calculate material variances. We are supposed to calculate it here 3 variances. One is material cost variance, that is MCV, material cost variance, then material price variance, and we will calculate material usage variance. So we are going to calculate 3 variances in this question. Now see, on the basis of the standard we have an actual, so we need to compare this. But you cannot compare these two because of the standard and actual can be compared only if the data is parallel, if the data is similar. Here the information for standard concern that was given for 1000 units and for actual it was given for 2000 units. So we need to convert our standard from 1000 units to 2000 units. It means that very simple way to conversion this. In case of 1000 units they need a 400 kilograms and the actual is 2000 units. So instead of 1000 units we will change our standard is for 2000 units. How many kilograms of the goods is may be required? 800 kilograms. So your standard price is remain same, 2.50 per kilogram. Price would not be changed. So in this case the comparisons would be now easier. The standard is 2000 kilograms of units, 2000 units manufactured, they need 800 kilograms of raw material at the price of 2.50, where actually it was 2000 units manufacturing, 820 kilograms of raw material is required. Now we can ask to find out the different variances. Let's begin with the material cost variances, and the formula for material cost variances is standard quantity multiplied by standard price minus actual quantity multiplied by actual price. So this is your first material cost variances. Now standard quantity is available 800 kilograms. This 2000 it's actually units. So 800 kilograms of raw material multiplied by 2.50 rupees per kilogram minus actual quantity is 820 kilograms and the price was 0.60 per kilogram. Now multiplied of this two, it comes to 2000 rupees, 2000 here, minus will multiply 820 kilograms multiplied by 2.60, 132. Variances would be easily identified. For manufacturing of 2000 units, the company had put some standards that 800 kilograms multiplied by 2.5. In this regard, they incurred 2000 rupees. That is what estimation. But actually, it's required 820 kilograms, and the price is also little bit higher than the standard. That is 2.60. In this case, they were incurred 2132 rupees. In this way, the company have a minus 132 rupees, minus 132 rupees, and this shows your answer is unfavorable or adverse. So your material cost variance shows that the amount of expenditures are incurred more than the estimations. So actually the price is incurred more. Let's move. The next is material price variance. And when you find out the material price variance, this formula for that, the material price variance is comes to actual quantity into bracket standard price minus actual price. Now actual quantity is available 820 kilograms. Standard price is 2.50 minus actual price is 2.60. So 820 kilograms multiplied by minus 0.10. 820 kilograms minus 0.10. It comes to minus 82. This is also adverse. Your answer for material price variance is also adverse. It shows that the amount of price estimations are lesser than the actual price, and because of that reason your price variance, because of the price variance, you are spending a more amount than the standard. Now moving to the third part of the variances, and that is material usage variance. And when you find out the material usage variance, it is just a comparison of the quantity with the standard price. So now material usage variance is equal to standard price into the amount of quantity has been compared with the standard price. So standard price into bracket standard quantity minus actual quantity, and in this way the standard price is available 2.50 rupees per unit into bracket standard quantity is available 800 minus actual quantity is 820. So 2.50 into minus 20, that comes to minus 50, and that is also adverse. So in this way the amount of your variances MUV, it also shows a minus 50, it's adverse. MPV, it's also minus 82. Ultimately the cross tally we can do it. The MCV is equal to MPV plus MUV, and MPV is minus 82 plus MUV is minus 50. Minus 82 plus minus 50 comes to minus 132, which is tally with your material cost variance. So this is all about the calculation of the material variances, and these are the three different material variances which shows what are the differences of actual prices and quantity with standard price and standard quantity. That's it. As we discussed the first problem regarding the material variances, now here we are going to looking for the labor variances. Labor variance is also a part of variations to be identified between the prices as well as the values. Sometimes the labor variances is actually effective to manage the labors as well as the rates and the total amount of efficiency to be identified from the different type of variances can be observed. Here I am taking a problem for labor variances, and the problem question you can refer always in the presentation area. That the question is, we need to identify the 4 labor variances to be find out the 4 labor variances. Like one is a labor cost variances LCV, then labor rate variances, then LTV, labor ITV, that is idle time variances, and the fourth is labor efficiency variances. Here these 4 variances to be determined from the some informations. We have informations like the informations that company is actually incurred direct wages of rupees 3000. So the first is direct wages incurred is rupees 3000 for the same. Then the company have a standard hours produced 1600. So standard hours it's 1600. Then standard rate per hour, and that is 1.50. Then actual hours is given, and actual hours are 1500. One more information we have after, that means in actual hours 1500, out of which there is some hours not worked. So if it is not worked, it means in idle time. So idle time is given 50 hours. So this is an information for this particular questions. From this information, from this available informations, we need to calculate the 4 variances, and 4 variances like LCV and other things. Let's begin with the first variances, that is labor cost variances. Labor cost variances, and labor cost variances can be calculated with this formula: standard time multiplied by standard rate minus the standard time multiplied by standard rate minus actual time into actual rate. This is your formula. For this comparisons, the company wanted to identify that how much amount of labor cost they assumed and how much it is actually incurred. So ultimately this differences and this variances is reflected, the amount of cost estimated is higher than the actual cost or lesser than. So it means that assumption has been actually worked or not. Let's see. Standard time is there, that is 1600 hours. Standard rate is 1.50 minus actual time, that is 1500 hours, multiplied by actual rate. Actual rate is not given here directly. It means that we need to identify how much actual time and actual rate has been actually identified. Actual time is given, that is 1500 hours, but actual rate is not given. But instead of actual rate, they will offer you a total amount of direct wages. So actual rate you can determine like this: actual rate is equal to direct wages divided by actual time. Direct wages is incurred 3000 rupees. Actual time is 1500 hours. So in this regard, rupees 2 per hour, that is your actual rate. So you can easily identify your actual rate from the available informations like this. So now here you can write its actual rate is 2. In this way, we'll need to find out the values for standard concern, and that is 16 1s are 16, 16 5s are 20. It comes to 2400 rupees. So actually labor cost standardized, that is 2400, but it is incurred 3000. So it means that the what amount of actual expenses is presumed, that is 2400, and how much is actually incurred, that is 3000, it shows minus 600, and your answer is adverse. In case of adverse, it is unfavorable. Unfavorable means the company's assumption is not accurate. It is something, the amount of expenditures incurred beyond your expectation, and that's why the answer is adverse. Let's move to the next variances, and that is labor rate variances. And labor rate variances is almost a comparison of rate. That means standard rate minus actual rate, but these differences would be multiplied with the actual time. So here labor rate variances formula is actual time multiplied by standard rate minus actual rate. So ultimately the differences we need to identify of rates, but that differences has to be multiplied with the actual time. So actual time we have a 1500 hours, standard rate is given 1.50 minus actual rate is 2 rupees. In this way 1500 multiplied by minus 0.50, 1.50 minus 2, it comes to minus 0.50. So in this way the 15 into 5, that is comes to 75. So minus 75, sorry 750 minus 750, it is your adverse. So this is labor rate variances also comes negative, and this shows the amount of rate variances is actually not in a favorable mood, it is an unfavorable because of your actual rate is higher than the standard rate. Now after these two variances, the third variance is idle time variances, and idle time variances is all about the comparisons of how much time has not been worked out. So it means that some hours from the actual hours they did not work, and if it is not worked, it means there are some hours which we are actually having a wastages. So we need to identify the how much is actually ITV, and ITV's formula is idle time multiplied by standard rate per hour. So idle time we have a 50 hours into standard rate is 1.50, it comes to 75 consent. So this 75, it's your idle time variances, and this is also adverse. Why it is an adverse? Because of it's a negative consent. Idle time, it's your work lost. This hours has not actually utilized in the organization, it is lost, and that's why we identified the how many hours is lost and how much